Monday, October 15th, 1979. Dear Diary, today was very hectic. Dad came home, went to pick up Michelle. We ate, opened presents. Michelle gave me a lot of Barbie furniture, autograph book, Michelle and Dee, breakfast, this diary. Michelle bubblegum lip gloss, got stuffed animals and games from friends. Aaron, Renee, Jenny, and Jennifer had a good time, ate cookies, cupcakes, chocolate cupcakes. Both grandmas talked to them, and Uncle Gary went to bed with all my animals and girl. Had a good, happy birthday. Good night.
What is girl? What is is that a doll?
It was kind of like a stuffed animal doll. I'm not sure where it came from.
Well, they have to let them know this was your birthday, right? The
Yeah,
15th of October,
my
10th
10th
birthday.
birthday. Got my first diary. For those on YouTube, you can see it here. Came with the little lock and the key, which I no longer have. If it's
They were such strong locks too.
faux leather.
I remember we used to open them with a paper clip.
And my chicken scratch handwriting in pencil. If you're on YouTube, you can see this. And oh my goodness, my abbreviations. I didn't even spell my sister's name right. Today was hectic. Heakdic. Um, it's a treasure that I have these diaries, these journals from when I was 10 years old. And I've been able to share them with my kids from about this age. I have continued little diaries like this in my teen years. And then as I got older, I kept diaries in notebooks and journals. I invite you to join our
I'm
podcast,
just
Don.
checking our number for this. Sorry. While you were talking, I was going to cheat a little bit.
And it's just the power of having these stories. I'll read one more. Dear Diary, this is October 16th, 1979. Today I went into the woods. Me and my 4 friends made a fort. We made a main room, MANE, with 5 chairs and a table out of rocks, and a rec room with a table and a couple.
You made a rec room in the woods.
Yes, we made like a house in the
You have a
woods.
pool table there, a foosball,
I guess that's what we called it.
or it
We
was just a
we
mess. It was a wreck.
no. Do you know what a rec room is? Like
Yeah,
a
I know
family
what.
room.
Yeah.
And a couple of chairs which aren't arranged because these boys came and were wrecking our fort. I went with Renee to get Michelle and Coco. When we got there, they had helped us to make the fort. When me and Jenny went home, oh my gosh, Jaggers on us?
Writing of a 10-year-old.
I don't know. Then Michelle came home, went in. Oh my gosh. Something about birthday. Oh, something about birthday cake.
Probably finished it off.
Good night. I don't know, or maybe my dad had been traveling, and so we had a celebration with the family. I'm not sure.
So hello, this is Don,
And this is Gina.
and this is podcast number 99. We're right on the cusp of 100 here.
Wow.
And today we're talking about journaling and diaries and the importance of them and what they can do for us.
And
Before we do that, though, let's take a little break for our sponsor.
Our sponsor is Q Sciences. I've been a representative for Q Sciences for over a year. I found this company through a friend and did some research and reading about these products. And I really like what I found when I learned about them. The research and time that they've put into the quality of these products to be better absorbed into the body. Things like the vitamin D spray. Our youngest was on a capsule vitamin D, and yet vitamin D levels remained the same with follow-up checkups. And with the spray, it increased
Pretty
almost
strong.
double.
Yeah.
And I mean, we're talking her levels were maybe 20, and I want to say they went up to 47 or something around that range. And the sleep spray is another great one. It's got melatonin, 5-HTP, and I believe another herbal supplement in there. And because it's a spray, you spray it on your tongue, it gets absorbed more quickly into your body to be more effective to help you in the moment. We're using the B12 spray. We've used the vitamin C spray. They have a Q Max product, which is a multivitamin.
And they also have the CBD, different, a variety of different,
It's full spectrum
full
hemp
spectrum, yes.
oils. They even have a THC free version. It comes in different flavors. There is a mushroom
oh yeah,
armor. It's called Q Armor. It's a powder, and I get the chai flavor. Put it in my chai tea for a double chai drink.
so instead of, as they say, flushing your supplements down, well, the toilet or the drain, you want to get something like this that's fully absorbed. It's like flushing money down the toilet too, if you're not using a supplement that absorbs well and does well for your body. So that's what Q Science is really about. It's a good, well absorbed, high nutrient product.
They have multiple products. They have child specific products. They now also have some facial cream products. I've been using a night cream to minimize the effects of sunlight and stress and aging on my skin. And they have a hemp lotion. That's also a wonderful product that we've tried. So check us out, learn more. You can find the link at our website,
www.focusedhealthyfamily.com. You can also go to focusedhealthyfamily.com/Q Sciences, the letter Q and Sciences.
with an S at the end.
With the S at the end, yes.
So today I was reading from my very first journal given to me on my 10th birthday in 1979. We were living in Canton, Ohio. My sister gave it to me as a gift. And I have held on and I have bins of these journals from the age of 10, and being able to pull it back up. I remember sharing with one of my kids and them seeing my handwriting and how badly I spelled things. It helped give them some confidence and to know it's okay to make mistakes and not have the best handwriting and be able to spell things. And you know, what I find interesting as I've read through some of these journals is a lot of the memories I have are because I cemented it in writing, because I wrote things down. You know, when I pull things up, I'm like, yeah, I remember that. I remember that.
Well, I think, that cementing is also the idea of using journaling to plan or to, create the future. When you write things down, it makes it more creative, more solid, I guess. I don't know. So,
Yeah.
I mean, it also cements memories, which is helpful, but it also helps to, whenever you write down, it really helps to lock it into your brain.
Mm-hmm. I know for me, especially even like through school, I would take notes and I wouldn't always go back and reread them, but the fact of having written them down was helpful. enough. And so, these are great tools that we can use as adults, and they're also ways we can help our kids. A kid can keep a diary and just put whatever they want in there, and that's the beauty of it. I've encouraged my kids from a young age. Our middle child, um, we have notebooks that we've recently gone through, and she literally made scribbles, like lined
Yeah, line
notebook
after line.
pages. And within the lines, before she could even write letters, she did scribbles on like every single line.
Yeah.
And she would write it, and she'd be talking about what she was writing. And I'm sure she had thoughts in her head of what she was saying. I remember one time she would tell me a story, and I would write it down for her, what the story was. And
Well, it's kind of like when she would tell her day's worth of stuff to me when I got home,
oh, well, that was when she was like 10 months old, and she would just babble nonstop. But it's empowering to be able to put what kids say into a written word, and for them, they feel heard and seen when we can do that for them. With homeschooling my kids, I got like a school planners type of book where I would write down our activities and things. And it was a great way also to write down what we did, to recognize and be able to look back and say, okay, we took a very open, eclectic approach to education and learning, and not having structured specific subjects, and to be able to see, okay, we did this field trip and it incorporated all these different skills, whether it be learning history, science incorporated in there, all kinds of components of learning and education. And so there's lots of different ideas and things that you can do with your kids. And beginning of the year is a great kickoff time. I love these journals that just have the day of the week in them. So I started this on October 15th because that was when it was given to me.
I've noticed the blank pages at the beginning, but
And I wasn't consistent. Then I did start in January. It was like, oh, that's a good time to pull out my journal again. And so I did. That would have been 1980. All I wrote in here, January 29th, 1980, almost last day. Bye. January 30th, last day of January, almost bye-bye. January 31st, last day of January. Dear diary, today I got sick in school. I went home early. First day of February. Today I did not go to school. Don't feel good.
well, and it kind of brings up another point. Another good factor of doing the journaling is like you have done is it also helps you get through the anxiety or the stresses or when you're angry. I remember seeing some of your journals where this writing was really big, and you could almost feel the feelings that were going on, the anger or whatever, the frustration that was behind it. And that's to me, another way of when you write down is it can help you to release that the stresses or the anxieties or the anger or whatever it might be.
Yeah, when I was a kid, our dog Coco ran away, and I wrote about it in my journal. And yeah, it was literally
process it.
It does. It helps you process. And there's a lot of fun journals out there now that you can do with your kids. One of my favorite was the Wreck This journal.
Oh yeah. Oh,
that we got for our youngest. And it tells you to do things like stomp on it and scribble on this page.
Down the stairs. Rip this page out and
all different kinds
soak it in water, I think, stuff like that. So yeah, those are cool.
There's so many different ways. And so, even just having a pretty notebook, pretty colored pens.
It's a form of expression, in a way. You like to get very colorful journals. I don't journal, and I don't know. I just never had that introduced to me to the idea.
We have done some together journals that I've bought and I have on occasion. I didn't bring it in here, but
we did those BK before kids.
We have the Mother's Heart Journal, and you have one too as well, that we've filled in memories. It's kind of storing the memories now so that later that our kids can read from them when we're older.
Well, and also like I have and I don't know if we both have the father's, it, I would say it's kind of like a journal, but it goes through my history of
It's
stuff.
just what I was describing.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
you were talking about memories. This is more like almost kind of factual in a way too, about what you were like as a kid and how you did things and like
I think it's the same journal.
I
Um,
could actually could go get it. Maybe I should go get it and read something out of it.
that's okay. We'll save that for next
What?
time so you don't
You get to read
disappear.
out of you get to read out of mine.
You feel like you're not getting a chance to read
Express myself.
and share.
Yeah.
We can
That'll
incorporate
be
that.
another day. We could talk about, how to, do another journal, another journal, another podcast on
On writing and journaling.
how to leave a kind of your legacy in a
Oh,
way
yeah,
is kind of what that's about, I
that's
think.
what
So
those journals were kind of
that's a whole
set up
nother
for.
podcast. I'll do it then.
So, sitting with your kids, even really young kids, giving them that opportunity that we're going to do this together and not having expectation of what they can do. I know in my early teen years, I would like cut out clips of the newspaper and write the top songs and the top 40 hits and things like that. I have a journal where I did a bullet point list of my favorite color, my best friend, the guy I liked, all these different things. I remember reading that to our youngest not too long ago.
Well, what were you saying? Didn't you write, like you used to write out the actual whole lyrics of a song too? Didn't you sit there and I think you told me you'd stop the
I
recorder,
did
right?
that a couple of times. Yeah, that wasn't really a journal thing per se, but back in the 70s and 80s, if you wanted to know the lyrics, well, and I got cassette tapes that didn't usually come with the lyrics in them, or maybe I didn't even have, I would record it off the radio onto my little cassette tape, and then I would slowly play it back. I know I did it for Eye of the Tiger and write out the lyrics. And of course, there's always some sections where you don't know what
Can't
they're
understand what they're
saying.
saying, so you kind of make it up.
And yeah, to be able to learn the lyrics of a song and to be able to remember it, that kind of stopping and starting and stopping and starting. So writing, there's so many fun ways to do things like this. We've talked about gratitude journaling before. It can be a great way to start the day or end the day, something you can do with your kids. You can have your own, our example is the best teacher. And planning is another big thing, especially with it being January. Oh, they're in my lap. I've got my new planner book for the year. There are so many different kinds of these. This is a fun one. Bloom Planters, Bloom Planners, PLANNERS.com. I've ordered it online. I used to go to like
Not sponsored.
the office supply stores yet to get these. This one's got the months with calendar pages. You can look things like this up online, but it's a great way. I've got my phone, my smartphone, my tablet, and other ways of recording information, and we do a Google Calendar to share events. But to me, there's something more tangible about having a physical book. And I've used smaller sizes over the years. You can get pocket ones. To write things down, it helps me to write and to see it in writing and, using colorful pens, get little colored sticker tabs to like tab the pages out. I repurposed this one last year. I love it because it wasn't even dated at all for these pages. These are great pages. So that I could, if I didn't do it for a couple of weeks, it was okay. I'd put this is a week long, and on the side, you can put the dates, you can put lists of things you want to do, different things. It's got habit trackers, which is really great for trying to drink water, walking, different things you're trying to incorporate daily in your life, and you check off when you do them. And for a while, I repurposed and I had tabs for working on our business related things and projects that we were working on. And like I said, when the kids were younger, I used one as a homeschool planner, and it was a great way to, I would sit down with my kids and we would set goals. What is it you'd like to work on this year or this month? And it was a great way to have a discussion with them, make a plan, check back in with it, to be able to follow through. These are lifelong skills that we're not necessarily taught in traditional education, of how to make plans, how to follow through, how to, I want to be able to accomplish this goal. What does it take to get there? Breaking things down into steps and helping to be accountable for things. So these are great skills that we all need. Some of us are better at than others. And there's so many different fun ways to do this. There are so many online tools now.
Oh,
And
yeah.
maybe,
Okay.
for your kids, those tools work great. They can set reminders.
Well, what I set up is on my Google Calendar, I use my 7 o'clock slot on the every day, and I made a repeating one that I set up one for Mondays, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. I don't think I did one for Saturday. And it runs every week, so I put in my this kind of to-dos or my things I want to do that day on what I call a task on my calendar. That 7 to 8 o'clock slot, I fill in all the different things to do that day. So I can go up there every day and look at Tuesdays and look at what I want to do that day.
Hmm.
I can go ahead to 3 months from now, a year from now, and put stuff in to do for that. So I just have gotten in a habit every morning. That's the first thing after I do my meditations and exercise, I look at that 7 o'clock slot for the task of the day, and it helps me to keep track of what I want to do. So if I have to do something with you on a certain day, I can go to that day and put it in there or put it on the calendar itself. So anyway, that's my,
I know that when I first met you, you used to use a planner book. You
yeah,
had certain, I'm trying to remember the brand name
it
of,
was Franklin Covey
okay.
or
And
Covey Franklin, whatever I could.
and you would get the pages every year to refill the
Yeah.
planner, like a spiral bound
Well,
book.
you had to go through they do it, they had a workshop you'd go to learn how to even use it. Because I mean, it was very detailed on how because you could copy things that you want to review and put them in the back of it so that, on this day I need to look at this in this file. It's like had a little, almost like a small file system in the back of it.
And you were very regimented for a while that you would
Yeah.
get those planner pages. When
And
did
then
you,
kids came along.
when did you stop? Well, you continued that for quite some
Well,
time that I remember.
I mean, life just it got really, we had the challenge, and I think that's what kind of threw me off somewhat.
Okay, because I know you always liked a physical planner
Yeah,
book.
so I've gone to this system and I've been pretty religious with it, so it's helped me to, like, for instance, Tuesdays is kind of my day of looking over my finance, just reviewing my bank account, reviewing my profit and loss or whatever for the year or for the day or for the week or whatever.
Here, give us an example. Is it on can you pull it up on your phone?
Yeah, I could share it, I guess.
Oh,
Share screen.
oh, okay.
Um, I don't know if I want to share screen and show my.
No, just pull it up on your phone and you can read to us an example of
Oh,
what things might look like for you on a
all right.
particular morning, having reminders of,
So
I'm just
my
curious,
task,
you're so,
daily task. So Fridays they're supposed to be my podcast day, and so I've got review of the month put on social. So in other words, I started doing, and I've kind of gotten away from it. I would do a review at either every Friday or every other Friday. I do just a simple review of what happened that week and kind of remind them what's been going on and what's coming up and all of that. And then it says to post around, which for me means putting it out on social media, taking clips, put together groups of themed podcasts. So working on these are things that I
yeah, I was
kind
gonna say, don't need to explain them, but just
of
kind of what you,
correct tags on podcasts, find more people to interview, do some off the cuff podcast. That was based on the other podcast I did. Plan out podcasts for the future. And then I have a list of topics that we could talk about.
So for each day, Monday through Friday.
This is Friday.
So
It's
how did you get
specific.
to that? I'm just curious here.
It's it's at the top of my
Okay.
Friday daily. Every morning, 7 o'clock, there's
But
this,
how does it link to something?
what do you mean, link to
Well,
something?
you click on it and it links like,
It's a calendar.
oh, is this
It's
Google Calendars?
yeah.
Okay.
So it's just I set an event
That's what you
and
did.
it's a
Okay.
repeated event forever, basically.
Okay. But
But I
then
set
each
one each
day,
day, specific to each day, and then some of the so I'll go to Tuesdays, and here I have, do reconciliations, review finances. I should be doing my mileage IQ. I have a thing that tracks my mileage. I'm supposed to update it, which, like I said, I've been trying to get better and better at doing all the things as I've set them up.
and one thing I know I've talked about with kids is it helps to have routines in place because it takes a whole lot less energy to do something when it's an actual routine.
Yeah.
We had this ongoing sort of battle with our youngest. Her job was to unload the dishwasher in the morning, and she would spend all kinds of time arguing about it. And I'm like, okay, let's time how much time it actually takes to do this job. And it really didn't take that long. And it's like, if it's just a routine, if it's just you come down, you take your medicine, you eat your breakfast, you clean up, you know, if you have this routine in place, then you're not having to think about it.
Well, yeah, and there was I was a workshop I went to of somebody that was time management. And one of her things she said is the first thing I do every morning is I have the dishwasher emptied. And that kind of stuck with me because I always do that. I like to do that too. It feels so much better not to have to think about that during the day. So there's certain things that I think are good to have just as routine to do it at a certain time and get them done, get them out of the way.
And it helps to coordinate this with family members. And it can be, it can be a family planner even, whether it's a virtual calendar, whether it's a big calendar up on the wall where you write down so people know what's going on, what's happening.
Well, we share calendars with Google, so we know, so I can, if I set something up or want to set something up, I can look at that day and see what you're doing and what I'm doing and coordinate it.
And with our kids too, our
Yeah.
15-year-old has asked us to stop putting her appointments for us to stop entering them in the calendar because she wants to put them on. Otherwise, they'll show up double.
Well, that is
And
the problem with that. It's anyway, yeah.
but being able to communicate with each other, and we live a life where things are changing every day and we don't have a set schedule every day and it looks different. I know when years ago when our oldest was little and I did, I guess it was when I was working in home care. And so some days I had longer days and shorter days, and I would let him know. Didn't I put like with numbers on the refrigerator? I've got 3 visits today to do. And so he had an idea of how long mom was going to be gone because kids like predictability. They like to know what's going to happen.
Well, and it kind of has paid off because our middle child, if you remember when she had roommates, they used to have that a wipe off board, and they would say when the dogs were fed, when the cats were fed, when the dogs were let out, they they kept up with it that pretty well. So
And yeah, it's a great
I think
communication
that's something we
tool.
need to probably do when she moves back to
The coordinating,
yeah,
yeah, coordinating with
coordinate
each other.
cars and moving cars and stuff like that.
And it can be fun too. I mean, some of these, this one I has actually like coloring pages in it. And it's got in the beginning, there's like your goals for the year, your aspirations, your desires, and whether you use that or not, it's okay.
Yeah, we
Um,
talked about goals at one of our podcasts too.
and so it can be a great, I mean, yes, it's January as we record this, and I'm sure as we air it, yet it can be done at any time of the year. Kicking off the school year can be a great time. They make planner books, obviously, that begin in September, ones that begin in January.
I was wondering if we consider when I was a kid how I remember my car book, it was a scrapbook,
Okay.
but could that be a kind of a photo journal in a way? My
Sure.
expression, my way of expressing what I was thinking and feeling was by pictures
Mm-hmm.
of cars. And I mean, it's this thick. I mean, it's huge because I started in like 1972, I
So
think.
for those of you listening and not watching,
Oh, that's true.
Don's like the thickness. I'm thinking of like two dictionaries. If you could
Gosh.
picture how fat a dictionary is.
Or take the Harry Potter books and stack up two of
Um,
the latest Harry Potter books.
so how maybe 6 inches?
Yeah, but it's very thick, like I said, because I not only went from 72 on every year, I would clip out pictures of cars, the newest and like I loved cars as a kid, the newest and greatest models and all that. But I also went back and I pulled up history and I'd find pictures of cars from the beginning and so it got very detailed. I don't know when I stopped it. I'm trying to remember what year I ended up stopping it. I guess I grew out of it or
And
something.
that's been a fun thing. Did you share that with my dad? We've talked
Yes, I
about
did. I
that.
took it down and showed your dad. And he got a kick out of it too.
Being able
He
to
loves the cars and stuff.
reminiscing about old cars and recognizing the difference in the 57 Chevy versus,
Well, yeah, that was I would kind of quiz him on it. He enjoyed that too. It's okay, do you remember this car? And he would remember the car and say, remember what year? And he sometimes he was able to even in the times when he wasn't cognitively quite all there, he still was able to pull up that and
yeah,
really got a joy out of it, you know.
that long-term memory. Yeah.
So yeah,
And the
so it's
stories that can go along with that. So yeah,
putting your I guess it's about putting your thoughts down one way or the other, you know,
yeah, whether it's a picture, whether it's,
the words you put out or you're just scribbling because you're angry, you know, either way,
yeah.
it's getting out and expressing yourself through a journal of some sort.
And, in addition to the journal aspect, but the planning and being able to write, to make a plan. We've talked about different kinds of gratitude journals. This is a fun little gratitude journal. My mom got me several years back. It's a Marie Kondo, and it's got a date. It it goes from January through December,
Regular,
but
yeah.
it's got spots for doing it in 3 years. So they're very little short areas, like 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, so that you can go back and write in it, which is also very interesting to be able to, as I'm writing gratitude this year, reading back.
Oh, yeah, and then you're doing it day to day, you know, comparing day to day. That's kind of
And
interesting.
it's always been interesting when I've stopped and read back through and to see, and I focus on gratitude here. So even though when I've been through lots of different challenges, which there particularly were many of in 2023, that I found what I appreciated from those challenges, the positive things from it, the good medics that we encountered and the nurses and things like that, despite all the difficulties going on. So it's kind of interesting to read it from that perspective. And it's also great to be able to just journal about the frustration and the anger and the angst, like you said, when we were in our early years of marriage and together as a couple, and just when I was angry, it did come out scribbling. The other fun thing to do is write with your left hand.
Yeah, that's what you sort of invoke your
Access the right
creativeness
side
and
of the
stuff,
brain and to be able to, um,
or do it with a crayon too.
mhm, which is funny because I would always, the notes from Santa Claus and Tooth Fairies, I'd write
Right, and left hand, so it
left-handed.
wouldn't look
And
like yours or letters
because
From Harry Potter.
I remember one of the kids saying, "Geez, Santa Claus writes like the Easter Bunny."
So
Yeah, there's so much fun that can be had. And, rather than seeing writing as a chore, there's so many fun things you can do with writing between colored pens and pencils and markers and crayons and different types of journals. My favorite are finding one with blank pages, not even the lined, just having that freedom.
and see if you write up or write down, because I tend to write upwards.
And to be
That's
able to color and draw, and
hmm.
it's a great tool. It's great for fine motor skills. It's just,
So it's your future book too, right?
and then yeah, you're if you journal like I have, I
You got
can.
a lot to write on.
I've got and I'll have to read next time we discuss this topic. My grandfather, who had a fourth grade education because he had to go to work to help his family, started a journal when my father was born. He was a young man of maybe 21. And he kept a journal, like written from the perspective of my father as a baby. And I have that now. My grandfather's been gone over 10 years. And just the beauty and the power of him writing and writing about when his sister was born. And
yeah, but we do that on that podcast. We talked about on my part with the father legacy. That would be a good one to start out. So we'll do that. We'll look into that. So
love to hear your thoughts on this. Share things that you have done with your kids, things you have yourself done. Love to hear and share different ideas with you.
And we'd love you to share this podcast too with somebody that you know might find this, a parent or that might find this interesting. Please share it. We'd love to have it shared and of course getting their comments and thoughts too.
Check out all the things we have to offer at Focused Healthy Family. You can see our blogs, all of our podcasts, our Tuesday tips, which you can get via email or listen to them. There are shorter podcasts we air on Tuesdays. You can learn about the workshops and groups and one-on-one work we do with families and individuals.
All at focusedhealthyfamily.com. And remember, how you speak to your children today shapes their future and yours.